everyone. It is Wednesday at 12:30, and that means it's time for our weekly little broadcast we call A Natural Shift TV. My name is Carrie, and I'm here with my sister Julie, and we are the founders of A Natural Shift. We are sisters in real life, so we love doing business and life together, so this is always fun for us as a time to just connect with each other, but also give you great tips on how to live a healthier lifestyle. We want to make healthy living simple. That is our goal all the time. So today, we are going to be talking about time-saving kitchen tips. And I asked, kind of polled a group that we have. It's called our support group. You can actually join it if you would like. You can go to our Facebook page and click groups, and you can join that group. We'll add you in there. But it's just a great place for us to connect with people. And so I polled everybody. I said, what is the one thing that holds you back from pursuing more of a natural lifestyle? And pretty much everybody said time. And that's one of the things that we hear a lot. I just don't have enough time to live a more natural lifestyle, whether that be cooking or, preparing meals, going to the grocery store, making different products that would be less toxic. Whatever it is, that's one that we hear a lot. So we knew that that's where we wanted to focus. This month, I think we're going to talk a lot about how you can live this type of lifestyle no matter what amount of time that you have. So we are excited to dive into this today. I did want to let you know that we're going to have an exciting new announcement about a new program that we're going to be offering and working with people individually. We're super excited about. So stick around to the end and we're going to tell you about that. So I'm going to just kind of start us off today and talk about different ways that we can just plan ahead, honestly. That is one of the biggest things as far as time constraints. And I plan ahead all the time. It's like, I think it's just innate by now. We'll talk about that, kind of how you almost retrain yourself to just think about things before they happen almost. Instead of being in reaction mode constantly, you're in a proactive mode, which can save you tons of time and headache. Headache is mostly what I'm trying to avoid, because I've definitely been there before when I didn't plan enough. I'm like, why didn't I plan for this? So it's pretty simple how we kind of go about planning. And I think we both do it a little bit differently, in the kitchen especially, but just taking the time to plan however works for you is really key. So taking 15 minutes, I do this on Sunday normally, Sunday or Saturday, whenever I'm kind of in the kitchen prepping for the week, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But take just 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and come up with what you want to eat for the week. Lots of times I do this based on whatever I have in the kitchen, in the fridge. So if maybe you just didn't go to the grocery store and you just want to plan a little bit of ahead, look in your fridge and see what you have. Look in your pantry and see what's there, and just kind of plan around that. Just whatever you do, take a few minutes and plan out the meals for the week. Whenever you're going to have leftovers, when you're going to cook, because believe me, I don't cook every night. I try to only cook about, I would say 2 to 3 times a week max. Julie might cook a little bit more than me, honestly. My family is fine with leftovers, so that's how we normally do it. But whatever works for you, make sure you have a plan going into the week. So we have a great class on ideas for meal prep that we're going to post, which is a great way to just learn kind of just the thoughts around how do you even begin meal prepping, because I'm not by any means here to say we're meal prep experts. I'm sure there's lots of people out there and lots of plans that you can buy, but really you just need the kind of the thought process around how do you meal prep. There's not a lot of, meat to that. It's really just planning. It's really just thinking about it and cooking things more so in bulk. Also, keeping a well-stocked pantry is super key. There's nothing that frustrates me more than I'm going to go to make a recipe and I don't have what I need. That's why, honestly, I do try to keep a well-stocked pantry, but I've gotten so good at I'm just going to use this ingredient instead of the other one. I know that you do that, Julie, right? We're like the queen of use whatever you have.
And let me just say this. We've been doing this for so long now that for most things, I know, what I can sub out. Can you hear me, Carrie?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought I cut out. I know what I can sub out and what works well. But you know what a really simple technique is? If you don't know, then just Google it, y'all. I mean, there will be something that comes up, what can I use in place of blank? And I promise you
will find something. Yes.
We are both don't like to go to the store. I mean, we're very conscious of our time and time management. and anything that I can find that I can improvise and substitute at home, that's what I'm going to do.
Right. And two, like if you are used to keeping more of a well-stocked pantry, I promise there's something you can substitute in there. And sometimes like I'll have something, especially in the fridge, that I want to use up. And so I'll just make a recipe, around that. And just, it's so funny. Like sometimes my husband will say, you pretty much just, I was making a frittata one time and he was like, so this is called whatever was left over in the fridge. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. But it tasted good. It was just kind of a random assortment. But hey, that's what you got to do. And honestly, if you do have more of a well-stocked refrigerator especially, it makes you get out of your comfort zone and makes you of recipes. And it makes you really think outside of the box, because I'm like, hate to throw away food. So I'll just try anything that I can. I know you're the same way, Julie. It actually forces me to use some of those ingredients that are healthier. Obviously, if they're in your fridge, I would say like vegetables and fruits and things like that I'll need to use up. And so I'll just create a recipe around that or just throw it into whatever I'm making. So that's a really good tip. Try to shop really healthy at the store. And even if you might not know what you're going to use it in, you just like the ingredient, I promise you'll whip up something, because if you're forced to not throw anything away, that's like my pet peeve. So I have come up with a lot of new and interesting and different recipes from that.
And another, Carrie, tip around that in terms of budgeting, that was like the second thing that most people struggle with when they're trying to incorporate healthier things is to do it on a budget. And that's going to be actually our topic for our next A Natural Chef TV. And we'll give you that information at the end. But we're going to talk more around that. But that's one of the best ways to do it. Never throw away anything. Always, use what you have, use it up. And if you don't know, like you've got, whatever, some peppers or whatever it is, and you're like, these are going to go bad, what can I do with them? Google it. Recipes that include red peppers or whatever. Like, I promise you will find something. It's not difficult. Just use the tools that you have and the resources that you have to make it as simple for yourself as possible.
But I think it's so about the mentality, though. If you have the mentality of, I'm going to use this, like it is not going to go bad, you're going to find a way to use it. Or if you're just, you're sticking to, I'm not going to eat out tonight. I'm going to find something in my kitchen that I can cook with and make for whatever a simple meal is. I promise that's really how you learn cooking skills and how you kind of stretch your comfort zone of meals and create new things. It's really a neat way to look at it, but it all starts with your mentality of, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make it work no matter what. So that's how and we probably both have just grown our kind of culinary knowledge and how to throw things together, per se. I'm more like the queen at throwing things together. and we don't eat anything that tastes bad either. I'm not all about eating something just because it's healthy. Like, I want to eat stuff that tastes good. Because, I love food. We both love food. We love to eat. So that's definitely a requirement for us. All right. So next tip is that I mentioned earlier, to take 2 hours to prep on Saturday or Sunday. And this is really how, honestly, I eat all throughout the week. I don't want to spend hours in the kitchen every single day. That's not my goal. My goal is to eat healthy food and provide that for my family. But I want to do that in a way to where I can still spend time with them and not be stuck in the kitchen all the time. So things like pre-chopping your vegetables, or you're going to cook your grains, maybe rice or quinoa or, whatever it is for you that you like. Roast vegetables. I love to do this because, honestly, the way I think about it is the things that are going to save me time are the things that are going to take the longest to cook as well. Like, say I'm going to throw something together for a quick meal. If I have to roast vegetables, that's going to take, 45 minutes to an hour. Whereas if I already had that, I could throw together some salad and a meat that I already had, and that makes the meal really quickly versus I've just got to wait for so long for this one ingredient to cook. So that's a little bit about my process. Like, if I've got the oven on Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to throw everything that I can in there, whether that's like whole sweet potatoes. I've put up some kind of squash, or maybe I have some like zucchini or green beans. I know Julie likes to roast green beans. I forget about that. I need to do that. That was a good reminder for me. But anything that you can think of that you can go ahead and get done, and then base your meals off that later. And you're going to find some things are better prepared right before you eat it than others. So if you're a person that just, you ate some try not to give a good example. Maybe you don't like to roast vegetables beforehand. It's things like, obviously, whole sweet potatoes will be better. They're better reheated. Sometimes the leftover veggies are not that great if they're like a certain one that maybe gets soggy, for instance. So you're just going to have to do a trial and error type period with that. But still, think about this in a way that will save you time later. And it really does make a huge difference. And it doesn't stress you out as much. If I know I've got everything in the fridge and I can just kind of throw it together, it makes it so much easier for me. One other tip that I know that we both do is I pretty much make a salad dressing every single week. And it's so easy. We eat salads. I mean, I eat one at least once a day. I say at least. I don't usually eat one twice a day, but I usually eat one once a day. I don't want you to think I'm eating salad every meal of the day. But normally at lunch is when I'll eat a salad. But if not lunch, I will usually eat one for dinner just because it's so easy and it's super healthy. And I can throw anything I have on with that. So dressing is honestly usually what kills a salad's nutritional content and just, adds on the calories and added things that you don't need, preservatives, things like that. So taking the time, probably 5 minutes to make a salad dressing, wouldn't you say? Under that? I mean, especially when you get into the groove of, the recipe and you don't really have to measure things. It's so super easy to make your own salad dressing. We have a great recipe on our website that we're going to post. Blog post on our website that has a lot of salad dressing recipes on there. I think there's at least 4 probably. And there are some other blog posts that are just one salad dressing recipe. But that one blog post has 4. And really, if you made one of those 4, maybe you just rotated it every week and you just made one a week for a month. You're not going to get tired of it, I promise. I can eat the same salad dressing every day on my salad because I put different things on my salad. So just try to see what works best for you, but don't overlook the fact that this is going to save you money and it's going to be better for you. Just makes the life a lot more simple, in my opinion, to have that. You have everything you need and you just whip together a salad in probably 5 minutes. Think about boiling eggs as well. These are some things that you can have on hand that are really going to save you time, but it's also just going to be easy. It's also going to allow you to not maybe choose those chips that you were thinking about eating. Maybe you just choose a boiled egg, or if you have some cut up vegetables or fruit or whatever it might be. Especially for my kids, I love having that as a snack option in the afternoon. My daughter loves boiled eggs. We're working on my son, but still, you got to keep going with whatever works at the time. But she loves to take boiled eggs in her lunch or eat them for a snack. So I love to keep in there. That's just something really easy that you can do. And they'll keep for about a week. I normally boil eggs about once a week whenever I do my prep time in the kitchen. So breakfast, sometimes that can be really rushed and hurried, and people sometimes skip breakfast or they just eat something that's, convenience type food, packaged food that maybe has more sugar than you would want in the morning. So think about making things that will be healthier options of those that your family likes. Maybe they like muffins. We've got a great blueberry muffin recipe on our website. It's awesome to make and freeze. So your freezer is going to be your friend, especially when it comes to things like that you can make ahead, like we said, the muffins. And sometimes I'll make like a very good recipe of waffles and put those in the freezer. Whatever it might be that your family likes, try to think, okay, can I freeze this? And another tip, you can totally Google, can I freeze this ingredient? And it'll tell you. That might kind of sound random, but if you don't know if it's going to be good once it's, unfrozen or how you reheat it, you can Google all of that and find what you need. Google is like a girl's best friend when it comes to kitchen tips and definitely time-saving kitchen tips as well.
And Carrie, speaking of that, it's so funny. Breads and things like muffins and pancakes, waffles, and all of that. Really, when you defrost those, if you just put it on defrost in the microwave, it literally tastes like you just baked it. In fact, my kids love to have muffins after school a lot of times, and so. They don't necessarily, for some reason, but sometimes they're okay with me pulling them out of the freezer. I think it's like a mental thing. Mm-hmm. But if they don't know that if they're fresh baked, they think they're always better. So
that's funny.
Earlier in the week, I'm like, so do y'all want a muffin when you get home? They're like, oh, you made some? I'm like, yes. And so, which was not a lie. Okay. I made them at another time. Okay. So, I had set them out and actually had let them come to room temperature. They didn't know any different. They were like, Mom, these are so good. I'm like, I know.
You literally cannot tell the difference. If you've never had a frozen muffin and just popped it in the microwave, you can't tell the difference at all. So we totally are not going to tell your kids to continue to eat the healthy muffins. You've got to try that. That is one of the best tips ever that you can you can make these so much better for you, and just you'll have them anytime you want. And if you also make like I make a healthy cookie recipe, I'll keep those in the freezer. Not that I'm promoting like you need to eat cookies all the time, but we need a sweet treat every now and then. And these cookies are like way better than anything else you can buy. I just make them kind of like scoop them out and then let them freeze and then put them all in a bag. That way you can pull 1 or 2 out and then just cook it at the time, like after dinner, if you wanted a snack or a treat or something like that. That's a great tip for you. But yes, think about what you can freeze that will save you a ton of time in the kitchen. So watch our time-saving kitchen tips video. We're going to post this. It's an awesome video that's going to help you just utilize all the things that you have in your kitchen, and it's going to really be a great resource to you if you feel like you do not have enough time, for sure. So one more thing that I forgot to mention, look for things like frozen cooked meats that you can keep in your freezer. Applegate's a great brand. I think, Julie, you've used Hip Chicks. Where do you get that at?
Yeah, so that's one that I've used. Let's see, they have little like turkey burger patties. They have chicken fingers and they're all organic. And obviously all the ingredients are non-GMO if they're organic, but they're really good. Now, I should have posted this picture. I'll have to go back and post a picture of the box so you can see what it looks like. But I buy them in Kroger in the natural food section.
Okay, Kroger.
What I was actually going to post was that sometimes my kids eat from a box. Sometimes we and you just don't have time. But just having things like that on hand for when you don't have time or you didn't prep ahead, eating some of those foods that you and your family love just in a healthier way will make such a big difference.
Yeah. And my goal is really always not to eat out. If I'm in a rush, like I'll just try to, anything that you can get honestly at home is probably going to be better than what you can get out, especially where I live. There's just not that many healthy choices. Maybe in your city there is, but in mine there's not. So anytime that I cannot eat out is a huge thing. So also the freezer section at your grocery store, there's some things that we always have on hand, like frozen vegetables, grains. Like you can buy tons of stuff now, like quinoa even, that's pre-cooked. Those are going to be more convenience items, obviously. So, and even like the chicken fingers, like you were saying, if you want to save money, you're probably going to need to make your own chicken fingers and freeze them. But if you really are interested in saving time and don't care about paying a little bit more, sure, there's some healthier options. But I love that there are there's 2 different ways of thinking about it. And there's different options for different people that meet their needs. Also, potatoes, if you do like hash browns in the morning or different dishes that would have that in there, there's just tons of things that you can use as convenience items and just will save you time in the kitchen, in the freezer section. So don't overlook that as well. And anytime you stay away from a can and do frozen or fresh, it's going to be better. So just think about, there's always good, better, and best. You just have to kind of look at it that way and think, well, what's going to work best for me right now and what's going to save me time and hopefully make healthy living a little bit easier, especially when it comes to the kitchen.
Yeah, for sure. Those were all really great tips. Another thing that I love to do is I like to have a list of kind of go-to meals. Like, by now you probably know the meals that your family likes. Just for some examples, spaghetti and tacos and chicken. I mean, most people like those kind of things. And I would encourage you, especially when you're trying to incorporate healthier things, to try and kind of healthy up those meals that your family already loves. Because honestly, the most of the tips that we have, and you'll find some Facebook Lives that I've done in the grocery store on how to healthy up your taco night and your spaghetti night. You could actually search that in the video section, and I think that we're also going to post those in the comments. But trying to kind of start there will be so helpful, not only for your family, but really for you, because you know what is the worst thing ever is to make a new recipe and then your family's like, oh yeah, terrible. Sure. It just makes you like, okay, not want to do it anymore, right? Not want to take the time to make something healthy. So save yourself a little bit. If you're going to incorporate, a new dish, and it's certainly good to try new things for sure, I would recommend one per week. Like, don't go and, decide you're going to fix 3 brand new meals that you don't know if anybody likes. Do one per week. Just commit to that, and then healthy up your other stuff. But have that list of like go-to meals that you rotate through every few weeks. Right. Like, I know we're going to have tacos and spaghetti. Also, what about breakfast? That's like one of my favorite things. We have a breakfast night every night because my family loves breakfast. Now, for breakfast, we like to do things like pancakes, and we have a great recipe on our website that you can check out. But if you didn't even want to do that, let's say you wanted it to be even quicker and you wanted to make some pancakes from a box, I would recommend Simple Meals is a brand that is great. Now, you have to order these online, though, just FYI, and we'll post that in the comments as well. But you can order those off of VitaCost or Thrive Market, and that's just a really good one to have on hand for a quick, easy meal. Sometimes we'll do things like eggs and bacon, grits, even stuff like that. Just try to healthy it up as much as you can, and obviously watch your portion control, of course. Other like quick meals to think about, because we're talking about saving time here. Yes, Carrie.
I'm sorry. I know you can see the comments, but Angela asked, she likes to make soups and use canned tomatoes. What would you use in place of canned tomatoes? So that's a really good question. And honestly, canned tomatoes is probably one of the only things that I use in a canned version sometimes. So I would just look for the no salt version of tomatoes. And also sometimes now, I don't know if around here they would have it, but some brands have the no BPA in their lining, which is just it's a preservative, right? I had a moment I couldn't remember, but yes. So that is a great thing to just look for a better brand of that. Maybe you get organic, maybe you get no salt, and try to look for that BPA free can lining. And that's really going to be the best you can do, unless you were to use fresh tomatoes. That would be my suggestion. Would that be what you would say?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Now, I do want to also, for tomatoes, something that I've done, and I didn't do it last year, but I've done it for several years before that. When tomatoes are in season, great thing to do is to I'm not all about let's try to remove the skin from the tomato. That is way too time consuming. I'm not doing all that. Yeah. But what I do is I just chop the tomatoes up in just large pieces, put them on a baking sheet, olive oil, salt, and pepper, roast them until they get, a little bit brown, caramelized around the edges. You can even put some garlic and onions in there with them. And then once that's done, you can puree that and then store it in your freezer. That's an awesome way, especially if you plant tomatoes and you have an abundance of them. That's a great way to have a fresh tomato sauce, instead of canned tomatoes on hand. And I used all those in my freezer and haven't replenished, but
yes.
So good questions. All right. So back to some quick meals. I want to give you some options for quick meals other than breakfast. What about picking up a rotisserie chicken? Maybe you don't have time to cook a whole chicken, even though it's really easy. And we do have a recipe on the website on how to roast it.
Amazing.
That's great. It's so good. It is so good. And so easy.
And it's spill proof. Seriously.
Yeah.
They know exactly what to do, exactly the amount of time, which side of the bird to do. I love that recipe. I use it all the time.
Yes, I love that one too. So if you don't want to take the time to do that, or you didn't plan for that, go pick yourself up a rotisserie chicken. Make sure that you keep some frozen veggies and, even things like quinoa, brown rice, that kind of stuff stocked in your freezer. Keep a well-stocked freezer. And, you can have dinner in literally 10 minutes. You defrost that stuff, you add a little bit of salt and pepper, maybe a little bit of butter, and you're good to go. We actually have a live that I did in the grocery store recently about the frozen veggies that I keep on hand that really just help me pull meals together really quickly. Like Carrie said, we are not all about spending all this time in the kitchen. Yeah. We love to eat. We love to eat delicious, healthy food, and do it in a timely manner.
Right.
So another option too would be if you grill meat. Let's say you're going to plan to grill some chicken. Grill extra meat for, another day, another night. Grill either some extra chicken or some other type of meat, and grilled veggies are really great. And I like them left over, even if you're going to eat them in a salad or something. Think ahead, plan ahead to just do more, in kind of larger batches, and that'll really save you some time. One other thing that's really great to keep on hand in your freezer is frozen fish. So things like salmon, most all tilapia is going to be farm raised, which the key thing when you're looking at fish, the one thing that your eyes always want to look for is wild caught. Don't buy anything that's not wild caught, that does not say it is, because if it doesn't say it, then it's farm raised. And what that means is they've been feeding it junk, like GMO, food. And then you're putting that into your body by eating the fish. So just make sure you look for wild caught, but keeping fish on hand, shrimp. That's such an easy pull together meal at night. Okay. Here's the next tip. When you're making your dinner at night, go ahead, tune in your brain to think ahead. Okay, what are we going to have for lunches tomorrow? I make all of my lunches, unless it's something that I need to just assemble the next morning. I make all of those at night while dinner's cooking. Like, I'm not going to be getting up a half an hour early, just to do that. I'm going to utilize the time that I'm in the kitchen. So go ahead, make your salad for the next day. Make your kids' lunches, whatever it is that you're sending them. Go ahead and just make those things ahead of time, and that'll save you a lot of time.
This is such a huge thing too. I mean, if you think about, if you go to work every day and you're just like, I just don't have time to eat healthy, you have to plan ahead, because I promise you're not going to want to get up early and do it that morning. So then you're going like, well, I'll just eat out, or I'll just eat something else that would probably not be as good for me. So that's really key. And it does not take a long time to make a salad or something real quick that you can take, or just leftovers, or maybe you like Angela said that she loves to do soup. I love to make a big batch of soup and then freeze it. So that way it's in containers. I just take it right out and put it in my lunchbox and go with that. So that's really something easy and quick that you can take for lunches. And that's going to make all the difference in the world when you're thinking about making these better choices.
Yes, absolutely. Soup's one of my other go-to favorite things to have on hand. And then also think about how much money it saves you. Maybe you're like, okay, I eat a salad every day. But then if you're going to purchase it somewhere, you're probably not getting a really healthy dressing to go along with it, which can really kind of negate the effects of the nutrition in the salad. So think about that. And then also, when I'm fixing things for dinner, a lot of times I'm eating either a salad at dinner. I've already got everything out for the salad. Why not just throw some into a bowl for myself the next day? Right. Or sometimes I'm eating leftovers the next day for lunch. All that stuff is already out for dinner. Why not just package some of it up for lunch the next day? Make it super easy for yourself.
Yes.
And then another breakfast, I just wanted to mention this. Smoothies can also be a really good breakfast or snack during the day if you wanted to make a smoothie ahead and freeze it and then just take it with you. Even if, I hear a lot of people that are like, I travel, I'm in the car, I don't have time, I just go through a drive-through. Well, what if you took a frozen smoothie and had it, thawed out, and you even just had that for lunch? If it's got all of the, healthy greens and protein and fat and fiber, then hey, that's a healthy lunch.
Now, I will say, not to interrupt you, but sometimes you might not feel like eating what you brought, right? I mean, you might be like, I don't really want this today. But if you're committed and you're not like, I'm not eating out, I just want you to know that every time we eat these things, maybe sometimes it's not exactly what we want, or maybe there's, some way it could have been better. But you know what? Every meal is not going to be the best one you ever had. I think some people kind of think that, I used to kind of think I want a complete meal and I need to have, a starch and two vegetables and a meat or whatever it might be. And I want it hot and fresh. All of those things are probably not going to happen all the time. But you know what? I'm used to it now. And I don't really eat anything that doesn't taste good, but it might not always be exactly what I want. But you know what? Sometimes you have to sacrifice, and you're just going to maybe have a treat later, or you're going to have a better meal later, and you just know that in your mind. So I think that's a great mentality to get into when you approach things like this, that every meal may not be the best one you've ever had, or you're not super excited about it, but maybe you can just plan ahead and have the best meal that you were wanting to later, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Good advice. So another thing that I wanted to mention to you guys that we're going to post in the comments is we actually have a class that we did on a healthy guide to food on the go. So if you are, always on the go, which most of us are, then you may want to go back and watch that just for some ideas on things that you can carry with you. Because here's the deal. If you don't, I always tell people, and people laugh, like I never go anywhere without two things, my water bottle and a snack. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to be caught somewhere like, and for my kids too, like, I'm not going to be caught somewhere hungry and have to like resort to eating something out, because here's the deal. The more that you cut that out, the better you feel. And then when you do eat those things, you literally just feel terrible. And so I know that about myself. So I'm just not even going to let that happen. That's just not even an option. So
and I think that's part of like food freedom. I don't want you to think that we always eat perfectly and we always eat this way. We do probably 90 or more % of the time. But we're always trying to weigh, okay, we know this might make us not feel good. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to me to eat this sweet treat? And I know I'm going to get a headache. I mean, I know that sounds silly. I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a special occasion. You're like, I'm just going to eat it. I know I might not feel the greatest, but I'm just going to chug some lemon water and hope it gets through my system quickly. So just know that there'll be times, we're not saying you still can't have that cupcake or that cookie or French fries or whatever it might be, but just not all the time. I think that's really key.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so funny that you say that, because a lot of times, so the cardiology practice that I work in is right beside Wilson's Bakery. So for those of you who are not around here, it's like a family-owned bakery. It's been there forever. You walk in there and you walk out and literally you just smell like sugar. Like patients come in and I'm like, oh, have you been to Wilson's? What? And I'm like, yeah, it's all I smell. So anyway, sometimes patients will bring over like a box of cookies or donuts or whatever. And yeah, they smell amazing. They look delicious. But every time I look at those, I think, you know what? Those smell so much better than they're going to make me feel after I eat them. That's all I need to remember. Like I just remind myself of that. And then I'm like, no, not doing it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it gets easier and easier, I will say, for sure.
It does. It definitely does.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of last tips. At night, when you're in there, you're making dinner or you're cleaning up from dinner, go ahead, mindset, be thinking, what am I going to have tomorrow for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Just kind of be going ahead and planning that out. And I know this might sound crazy, you guys, but this is what I do sometimes. So first of all, if you have some meat that's frozen, take that out, put it in your fridge. Okay. If you already, have that planned out. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I will go as far as if I'm doing stuff in the kitchen and I know that I'm going to be pressed for time in the afternoon, I will literally sit out the pots and pans that I need to, like, I'm going to do everything I can to make it easy for myself.
Well, that gives you no excuse too. You're like, well, it's already set out and I already have all the stuff done. I mean, it's just so easy to walk in and think nothing's done in the kitchen. I'm just going to go out to eat or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's really all it is just setting yourself up for success.
Yes.
Like that's all it's about, is setting yourself up for success. So I want to, before we tell you guys about this program that we're so excited about, I want to just read a couple of these comments. Lori's.
Yeah, I was going to go back and I didn't know if you could see them or not.
Why don't you read them, because I'm reading off.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Deborah asked, what's the best bacon to buy? So I have some tips, and maybe Julie can add to that for sure. But I would just look for no nitrates in bacon. And a lot of brands are starting to kind of get on with that bandwagon. And what was the other one I was going to think of? Lord.
I can tell you what. I can tell. I'll chime in. I can tell you what some of my
uncured. That was the word.
Oh, uncured. Yes. So if you can go, to a farmer's market where you can, find some good sustainable, meat sources, that would be great. At Kroger, I'll tell you what the best options are there, because as you guys know, that's where I mainly shop. The best options are Applegate has a good bacon. That's a really good brand. And then Maverick Farms has one that I love. And then also, Kroger's Simple Truth, it's probably not quite as good, but it doesn't have the nitrates, and it's uncured. So that's another good one. Those would be my top 3 choices if you're buying in a local, grocery store.
Yes. And 2, I used to cook mine in the microwave, But now I've started cooking on the stovetop, and I actually just save the grease from that, and you can, use it in your other recipes. So just a little tip for you there.
Yeah. Did you want to read these other comments?
Yes, I will. Well, Tammy just gave us some tips, I guess. She said you can also freeze tomatoes, and then when you need to take them out and throw them in your recipe, the skin comes right off. That's a great tip. I didn't realize that. And then she also mentioned that Muir Glen, I think that's how you say it, brand. We buy their marinara sauce. It's really good. And then they also have organic canned tomatoes. So just look and just see what the best choice is that you can make wherever you're at. Don't try to go out of your way to get some of these brands and things just use these tips to think, okay, because that's all I do. Everywhere I go, I just try to compare. Sometimes I know right off this is what I want to get, but other times when I'm maybe at a different grocery store, I'll just simply compare and think, well, does this one have, speaking of bacon, like, is it uncured, no nitrates? What's a better brand that I've heard of, maybe that has different products that I know are of quality? I think that's really how you kind of just transition over to some of these kitchen tips that we're telling you. You just kind of have to, whatever situation you're in, you just have to know what to look for.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sorry, I'm cracking up at Lori's comments. Meal per week. One of my children told me they would rather starve than eat what I made Monday. So yesterday I made tacos, and now I'm cool again. Hey, I've had it happen. Now my people are usually like, well, it wasn't our favorite. And I'm like, okay, no.
That's like way better than I get. Like they usually spit it out and like, I'm not eating this. Okay. My kids are younger than her. So anyway, we're going to work.
Improve over time. And you know what? The good thing is you will get some recipes that they love if you just don't give up. And then it'll be part of your rotation. And then you'll be so proud of yourself. Like, oh my gosh, I made something that they love that's healthy for them. So it's worth it.
Really exciting.
Okay, so guys, just to wrap up, if you guys feel like, these tips are great, but you still kind of need some accountability and you're like, I don't really know where to start, I need some individual support, we are now offering wellness planning. And this is something that we've actually done over the past 10 years or so with different clients, but not in a really organized format. We've worked with people individually, and now we want to really help and grow our services and help more people. So we now have a program that you can get in on if you'd like. So let me tell you what it entails. It's a personalized plan. You work with us individually. So we provide individual support and accountability. And that's really where I find a lot of people fall down, is in the accountability area, because they just need somebody there being their cheerleader, telling them, that they can do it, that they're doing a great job, and just holding them accountable to some of these changes that you desire to make, but they're hard. So you kind of need some accouability.
We're going to be your cheerleader, basically.
That's right. Exactly. We have experience as cheerleaders too.
That's right.
The areas that we provide support in is not just food related. So let me just give you some of the areas. So in the food category, learning the basics of cooking. If you don't know how to cook anything, or even if you know how to cook some things, but maybe it's that you're used to cooking things that aren't as helpful. So that area of kind of healthy cooking overwhelms you. No matter what level you're at, will help you wherever you're at. Meal prep and planning, saving time and money, the things that we've been talking about today. Healthy swaps for your favorite foods. This is, again, one of the biggest things. People say, I still want to be able to eat these things that I love. Well, like we do too. And what we've done over the last 10 or more years is figure out how to eat those things in a healthier way. And I mean, this has really come from try this recipe, try that, come up with this recipe, and we know, what tastes good and what works and what doesn't. So that's been through kind of years of trial and error. Aid in navigating the grocery store aisles. We'll actually go grocery shopping with you. I mean, how cool would that be to be able to have a guide with you so that, when you go back in the future, how to navigate the grocery store aisles and what brands are good and how to read nutrition labels and just kind of all of that can be overwhelming. Healthy weight management, that might be something that is one of your goals, but this is really going to naturally flow from these daily habits that you're going to be incorporating. We have a whole foods-based detox as well to get rid of those toxins and chemicals that our bodies build up. Natural supplements and tools. As you all know, we use a lot of essential oils and just natural supplements that really help to level up our health and give us a lot of energy and just help us to feel amazing. Mm-hmm. So we will help you develop a personalized daily plan that's right just for you in that area. And then the last area is a self-care routine. You know, most of us probably on here, most of you watching are women, mamas, wives, that we're caring for other people constantly. But if we don't care for ourselves and develop some self-care routines, then we can't care for others in the way that we want to, and we can't show up in a bigger, better way if we're not caring for ourselves. So if all of these things kind of sound like something that you need to kickstart your journey and really up-level your health, then just comment below or private message us and we'll send you some more information. We'll be happy to do a 15-minute call with you to see if this program's right for you. We're so excited about it.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, as I was listening to you list those things, really all it is we're going to put the power in your hands. You know, we don't want you to think you need to rely on us for forever. I mean, obviously we're going to always provide value, but our goal is for you to be able to go to the grocery store after we go with you and think, oh, okay, I feel empowered now. I can make choices. I know what to look for. Like, that's the whole goal of anything we do, honestly, is to just give you the tools and the information that you need. So I'm excited to hear from some of you. I know there's some of you out there that this is what you've been looking for, and we're so excited to start working with you. And so please reach out to us if you have any questions, or just schedule that time to talk, and we can kind of go over and see what will be best for you. Thanks for joining today.
Okay. I did mention that this may be what you were going to say. We're traveling next week, and we will not be on at our regular scheduled time, but we'll be back on the 21st, and that's when we're going to talk about how to live healthy on a budget. So tune in for that.
That's a big one. So make time to come to listen in on that. If you can't do it live, watch the recording on that. So we will see you then. Y'all have